Alright, welcome everybody to an updated bow skip setup. There's a method we found at the latest instance of the Prince of Persia Marathon PoP runs previous weekend, where we figured out a way to make this, if done slowly, 90% consistent. If done quickly, for me it's still 60%. If you're already familiar with this skip, at least broadly, the first half of this skip is still the same. Of course, I'll still show it off. So the first thing you do is, after the cutscene or after skipping the cutscene, you go up here and first take position. What I do is I look at the prince's left foot and have it aligned roughly like this. You see where like the black line on the floor touching the prince's foot does so almost in the middle. This is not the part that's too precise, but still, if your position and angle at this point is not good, then once you land out of bounds, like not in the water but out of bounds after crawling back, the prince will sidestep to his death. So in that sense, you have to be careful about this part of the setup. This has to be precise, but it's not too. It doesn't influence the final outcome too much. Let's put it like that. Anyway, position setup, left foot of the prince's foot, and for the camera angle, I look at the bottom right and bottom left corner of the window, the frame. So in the bottom right, you see this horizontal black line. And if I turn my camera, the same is true for the left side. There's also a horizontal black line. And the way I set up the camera is like this is good. I set up the camera such that neither of these black lines is showing beyond maybe a few pixels. That's how you know the prince is looking straight. There are other visual cues you can find or use. For example, in the middle of the screen to the left, there's also a vertical black line to the left of which there's a bit of bright wall showing. All you need at this point is that the position is decent and that you're looking straight ahead. Next, you'll be do a quick save state here. You'll be crawling backwards, as is usual for air swims or for getting out of bounds in general. You do have to be careful here, because if you're not, you'll crawl back and you will not be inside the wall. So you'll have to do the thing again. If you're careful enough, however, the prince will be inside the wall. And if I were to walk forward now, I would walk out of bounds. So that's good, that's what we want. Now for the new part of the setup. Which at this point there are two variables. The first one is how far you walk into the wall, which is the first part. And the second part will be how late you jump. The angle is what will be made consistent with this first person camera thing. Okay, so going back. At this point, there are again multiple methods you can do. If you're playing on controller, you can do like one or two flicks forward until the prince's the feather on top of the prince's hat disappeared inside the wall. To be fair, there's a bit of variance to it. So there are probably other visual cues you should look out for. For example, how far is the prince's are the prince's hands into the wall, or is the prince's torso into the wall? So for example, with this you see there's the prince's torso, there's a slight horizontal line. That's, at least with the current setup, that's too far into the wall, because if you turn around now and want to set up your position, there you saw the prince sidestepped. So that's too close to the ledge, the out of bounds ledge. And then once you turn, the game detects, oh, he's too close, and we let the prince sidestep as a safety measure. So as long as you can avoid that, that's good. So what I do usually is oh, that was too far. There is 2 short taps on the up arrow key. But as I said, you can also do slight movements forward on the controller. Right. Once this position is set up, and again, let me say this part, the position of how far the prince is into the wall, is at this point, I would say, the biggest source of error due to the variance. We don't, or at least I don't have a good visual cue other than the feather thing. But the feather thing, that's only a range, right? Like the further I go into the wall, the feather's still gone. So that's only roughly a setup. But in my experience, that's good enough. Anyway, now we have the position set up. Now we can do the first person setup. And what you do is the following. On the D-pad, if you press D-pad down, the prince goes into first person mode. And as you turn, that's the important part, the prince's model turns as well, as you see by his feet there. Okay, so the setup is the following. You go into first person, you see all the purple flames in the background. You look fully down. Once you look fully down, you turn to the left until you see the flame in the top right corner there. And what I do is I align the right side of the flame with the edge of the window. That's a bit too far right. As you see, it's a bit finicky, but it can be done quickly if you're careful enough with your analog stick presses or nudges, really. Yeah. Now at this point, now that the angle is set up as well, this is only about the jump timing. And one setup that we found for the jump timing, that's really the final thing then, is to look out for the prince's left foot disappearing inside the wall and then jumping. Well, that was a bit too late, maybe. Could still work. Yeah, still works, cool. And then you do the same thing as with every other swim in air. Okay, so let's do that again. Walk forward until the prince's foot disappears. And then jump. And we did it. Like, that was very late and prince still walked in bounds. One final time. Like, that jumped pretty early. Still worked, prince did not hit the water. And then the usual. Tap A, hold Y, press A to go into swim, and then you're out. And that's the whole thing.